But the biggest one is, did you get your share of listings last week? Way too many people doing this. This is not what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. Okay? And number two, what are you going to do about it this week? What are you going to do about it this week? See, the key is if there's business out there, and again, we've indicated there's business out there, there's deals out there, then if you're doing your activities and you're doing them at a decent level and you're practicing those activities over time, you should be getting some of that business. You guys with me? Yes. Okay, good. All right. So, draw another line in the paper. Draw a line in the paper. I wrote down here, we are a business of similarities. We are a business of similarities, meaning we all look similar. We have the MLS, we have the opportunity with the MLS. We have advertising, you open up the newspaper, there's advertising. You go into the website, most of the websites look, what? Similar. Oh, one's blue and one's yellow and one's green and one's red and one's black and white and this one's bigger and that one's smaller. But they're what? Similar. We have signs that go in front of houses, but they are different names, yet they're similar in size and similar in location. And agents, what do you really do different from one agent versus another agent? How do you stand out as being different? Because most real estate agents that I've experienced, in fact, I even talked about it this morning, are average. Agents typically, what I said earlier today on the message, was that you're either an agent that prospects like crazy and doesn't follow up, and we call that agent what? Average. Or you're an agent that gets a lead, somehow you get a lead, and you follow up like crazy on a lead. You don't prospect, but it kind of drops in your lap somehow. And you follow up like crazy, and you're able to put that transaction together, and we call that agent average. And if you are a great agent, and you are great at prospecting, and you're great at following up, we call that agent a superstar agent. So what are you? What is it? What we are is very similar. So I wrote down a question. What's my edge? What's my angle? What do I do a little bit different in this business of similarities? The next question I wrote down is, what's my competitive advantage? What's my competitive advantage? What do I do a little bit different? What sets me apart from my competition? What sets me apart from my competition? So I wrote down some thoughts. One is, no one will ever outwork me. Okay? That fits for some and maybe not for others. No one cares more about their client. No one knows the market like I know the market. That would require that you do what? You were curious on how long it would take me to bring that up, right? No one prospects more than I do. No one is more disciplined than I am. I can always find a way. You give me a willing buyer and a willing seller, and I'm going to be able to help you put that transaction together. One of the things I learned early on in my career is impossible only takes a few minutes longer. That was one of the things that I did early on. So then I wrote down here, if you're not something, then you're probably what? Average. then you're probably average. And if you're an average real estate agent, then here's the question. Why is somebody going to want to work with you over working with someone else? What's the competitive advantage for you over someone else? For me, nothing for me is a bigger insult than for somebody to call me average. Somebody thinks that I'm an average broker or an average company or an average system. I mean, I see red. Because I don't consider myself average anything. How about you? So I wrote down here, one of life's realities is that major improvements take time. They don't just happen. Major improvements take time. And we need to be working on these improvements every day, every week, every month. Every day, every week, every month. Every day, every week, every month. When do we need to work on them?
Every day, every week, every month.
This is very good. I wrote down here, becoming a master takes time, and you have to practice, practice, practice. How much practice are you giving? How much work do you set aside? How much time do you set aside to work on your skills every day? Not just the scripts and dialogues, although hugely important. The prospecting, the previewing, seeing property, comparing properties, comparing different scripts and dialogues. What works, what doesn't work. Going to see property at a certain time of the day. Going to see property at a later time of the day. I have some opinions on it, but they're not locked in stone. We have many agents that do things a little bit different than what we suggest, and they're very successful at it. It's the agents that are trying different things all the time within these confines of the activities. See, it's about you taking action. If you're not taking action, it's like, if you're not on an appointment, in my opinion, you can't do what? You can't make money. You can't make money if you're not on an appointment. If a week goes by and you don't go on an appointment, you can't make money that week. It's not happening. So you have to be on an appointment. In order to go on an appointment every week, you need to do certain activities. You need to door knock, you need to phone canvas, you need to work on those skills. I wrote down here, don't shortchange yourself by not being ready when an opportunity comes your way. Don't shortchange yourself by not being ready when an opportunity comes your way. Knowing what to say and how to say it. Knowing what to say and how to say it. I wrote down, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. And I wrote down the 3 words that I believe that we need to be working on in order to go to the next level. Those 3 words are focus, consistency, and commitment. And I think most of us get the concept of focus, doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, at that time and place. And I think a lot of us get the concept of consistency. But I would like to take a moment and really paint the picture of commitment. Okay? No matter what, I'm going to get this done. Write that down. No matter what, I'm going to get this done. And I'd like to paint this picture for you. You have a steel beam. The beam is 60 feet long. It's 3 feet thick. It's about 3 feet wide. You lay it on the ground, you get on it, and you walk from one end to the other, most of us can do that without falling off, right? Say yes. We can do that, all right? Now, if you take that 60-foot beam and we rise it up a little bit, and we put it 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and I ask you to walk across that beam, some of us might be a little bit concerned about it, some of us might be a little bit concerned about falling off, but I think for the most part, if I were to offer you $1,000 for walking on that beam, would you do it?
Yes.
You'd certainly attempt it, right?
Yes.
For $1,000. Okay, let's take that same beam, that same scenario, that same 60 feet, that same 3 feet wide, and let's put it 40 feet in the air. Okay? 40 feet in the air, no wind, it's not wobbling, it's very secure, very stable. Do I have anyone for $10,000 that would try it? You would? Okay, we get some triers. Great. Okay. So, in Century City, there's 2 buildings, side by side. They're called the towers. They're 44 stories tall, which puts them at about 5,000 feet up. You guys with me? How many feet in a mile? 5,280. So it's almost a mile from the ground floor to the top of that building. And interestingly enough, it's 45 feet across. But I'm going to take my 60-foot beam and I'm going to secure it across there. And I'm going to say to you, and it's windy, and it's not going to fall. It's not going to fall. This beam's not going to fall. I don't know about you. But the beam's not going anywhere. It's still 3 feet wide. So for the same $10,000, any of you walk across that? No way, right? Let me ask it this way. What if there was an absolute crazy terrorist on the other side, and this person had your son, daughter, or significant other, and they were holding them off the edge of the building, and they said, unless you cross that 60 feet, I will drop this child. Anybody else going to try?
Yes.
I'm running across. Okay? That's a commitment. Do you get my point here? You're committed no matter what to get across there. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's about a real, honest commitment. And it's really the commitment, if you will, towards your family, toward the things that are important to you. That's a commitment. And that's what you need to find in this business. Focus, consistency, and that kind of a commitment that throws you out of bed in the morning, that gets you going every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month, even especially on the days you don't want to. I didn't want to get up this morning. I didn't want to come into the office. You know, I have a flat tire on my car. Okay, that's a pain. You know, got up a little bit late. That's a pain. But I have a whole group of people, and they're here, and they're expecting. And you know, maybe I'll say something that'll help move you to the next point. I set my life up committed to be here. That wasn't an option for me. You have to put your life in the same order to make that happen. So, I wrote down here, you cannot change what you don't notice. You cannot change what you don't notice. That's why we ask you to videotape your listing presentation, so that we can review it with you. so we can help you go to the next level. That's why we actually ask you to track your numbers. How many contacts did you make last week? How many listing appointments did you go on? You know, we want you to write down that you went on a listing appointment or you didn't go on a listing appointment. Because if you see it, that, hey, I went on a listing appointment or I went on a buyer appointment, so now I have an opportunity to potentially make some money this week. If you put a 0 in that week and you look back at all the weeks and there are a lot of zeros, and you haven't made any money, at some point, you might see the correlation. No appointments, no money. No appointments, no money. No prospecting, no leads. No leads to follow up on. You'll have what? No appointments. So, that means to change, you have to change. To change, you have to change. And you've got to do it, I wrote down, today. You've got to make the changes today. You've got to make the changes now. Before we leave this room today, you have to take action on a change that you want to do. Pick an activity today, right now, in the next 15 or 20 minutes when our meeting is over, of something you're going to do, something you're going to change, something you're going to ramp up. I wrote down, okay, this week I will practice until I know that script. This week I will role play until I get it and know that script. This week I will actually, really, honestly prospect 3 hours. I know I've said I'd do it before. I know it's week 5, and I know in every week I said I was going to do it today, tomorrow, today, tomorrow, today, tomorrow. But this week, actually before the end of today, I'm going to actually prospect what? 3 hours. Give me the 3. Everybody wants to do the or more. But give me the 3 right now. All right? I'll preview 5 houses per, oh, there it is again. I'll preview 5 houses per work day. 5 weeks have gone by. You're supposed to see 5 houses a week, 5 houses a day, 25 houses a week for 5 weeks. That means you would have seen 125 houses. Don't raise your hand if you didn't do it. 125 houses. If you would have seen 125 houses, those of you that didn't see 125 houses, how would you feel about yourself if you saw the 125 houses? Hello? You'd feel pretty terrific, right? You'd feel fabulous. Let me ask you something. How knowledgeable would you be? If you got a listing appointment in a particular area, so you remember what I was talking about, be prepared for the opportunity. If an opportunity comes up, then you need to be prepared for that listing appointment, not run around, oh my gosh, I haven't previewed property, I gotta go see them, I gotta go see what's going on out there. If you haven't done this already, then you've got to do it, and your appointment's tomorrow night. You don't have enough time. Does that make sense? Stop doing that stuff to yourself. I wrote down here, I will eat 3 desserts less this week. Okay, I gotta mark that one off. But it's the whole week, okay? It's not just today I'm gonna eat 3 less. It's the whole week I'll eat 3 less.
Maybe we'll go for that.
That's a good point. Honey, if you're listening, it's not true. I wrote down here, I will exercise 200 minutes more this week. Or I will exercise 200 minutes this week. Okay? We need to do this for ourselves. I wrote down here, I'll hug each kid in the morning and hold it a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Each kid, or a spouse or significant other. I wrote down here, I'll compliment my children at least one more time each day. See, it's not just the work we do, although important. But it's our interaction and relationship with our family and our kids. I wrote down, I'll hug my spouse or significant other one more time each day. I wrote down, I will, because I'm committed to getting this done. I wrote down, today matters. Write that down. Write down, today matters. Commit right down. Don't leave this room when we're done in just a moment or two without writing down a commitment. And I'm talking about a commitment. I'm talking about the kind of commitment that a mile off the ground you will run across to try and save the life of your child or significant other. That's the kind of commitment that I'm talking about. Focus, consistency, and commitment. Now take the time right now, write it down, and let's go out and have the best week we've ever had. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.